MSC Cruises, the world's third largest cruise line, has been quietly operating in the United States since 2003. This Italian cruise line, known to attract a mostly European clientele, has been ramping up its efforts to capture the US markets with stunning new ships and prices that are hard to ignore. But the results have been far from perfect, as negative reviews seem to be a common occurrence with the cruise line. Today we will cover what the cruise line is doing to right the ship and win your business. We spent the weekend on one of their older ships, the Magnifica, to see firsthand what it's like. Stay tuned to find out if MSC is truly making strides or if there's still rough waters ahead. I wanted to share a little bit about my experience dealing with this cruise line before we start this cruise review. I've been wanting to try MSC Cruises for some time now. As cruise prices continue to go up throughout the whole industry, MSC has some low rates that are just really hard to ignore. So when I decided I wanted to try them out, I signed up and completed MSC's travel agency training. I applied for a status match online, and then the status match got stuck in back and forth emails with the company, and they eventually just stopped responding to my emails completely. I reached out to them via multiple channels to try to get an update on my status, and I got absolutely no response. Instead, I got multiple calls from MSC wanting me to book a cruise with them. But by then, I just thought to myself, if I can't get a simple customer service issue fixed with them, there's no way I can confidently sell MSC Cruises to my customers. But by then, I had given up the idea of ever sailing on MSC Cruises. It wasn't until I had dinner with another YouTuber, Brandon, the weekend cruiser, that he convinced me to actually give MSC a try. He's been on MSC Cruises multiple times, and he's got a lot of helpful videos on his channel, and he was able to address some of my concerns that I had with the cruise line, especially the food, which is a very subjective matter. So I bit the bullet and I booked this cruise for a total of $420. Hard to beat. And even though dealing with MSC Cruises up to this point was a nightmare, I was really hoping that I would like this cruise itself. We had an onboard time of 11:30 a.m. on embarkation day, and MSC's new terminal in Miami, set to open with the MSC World America in April 2025, was still under construction. Until then, MSC doesn't know which terminal their ships will depart from until the day before their cruise. Our ship was departing from Terminal C, which felt more like an old hospital building than a modern terminal. Despite the less than stellar surroundings, we were moved through the terminal with impressive efficiency. I was feeling a lot of stress as I had chosen to work through the morning rather than take the day off. I had taken a small break to board the ship, so I was eager to get on board quickly and finish my workday. We just took a picture, and I think we're going to be boarding in less than 10 minutes. Yay, we're getting on the ship. Thankfully, the quick pace through the terminal helped alleviate some of my anxiety. One thing to note during the check-in process is that they didn't check to make sure that each person had a credit card on file, which would cause a small problem for Joel later on in the cruise. You can add the credit card online via the app or at this kiosk when you get on board. Our sailing would be a weekend getaway that would take us to Key West and the Ocean MSC Marina Reserve. Weekend cruises have gained popularity in recent years. Millennials have realized the value of an all-inclusive cruise compared to the weekend getaway in a big city resort. Passengers under the age of 40 now make up to 42% of cruisers. A whopping 43% of all cruise passengers worldwide are Americans. Cruise lines have recognized this growing trend and are making weekend cruises more of a priority in 2024 by mobilizing some of the newest ships to accessible ports for weekend excursions, like Royal Caribbean just did with the Utopia of the Seas. For the $420 we paid for this sailing, we are getting food, lodging, and entertainment. And we get to visit a beautiful private island. We've paid much more for one night at a subpar hotel.
Hi.
Hello, how are you doing?
My name is Mingoli from China. What's your name?
Ricky.
Ricky. Welcome, Ricky, to Magnifica. Let's go.
That was super quick, wasn't it? Finding your way around the ship is always part of the fun of sailing on a new cruise line. Needing to get back to work, we rushed to find our cabin so we can set up shop to finish the workday. Being one of the first to board also meant a high chance of our cabins not being ready. I don't think the room is ready. Cleaning in progress. We're going to the Tiger Bar because we need to do some work, and there's a spot where we can connect our laptops. The Tiger Bar is the ship's largest bar and serves as the heartbeat of the ship. Here you will find many of the ship's activities, including trivia, which had much better prizes than other cruise lines, including backpacks, hats, blankets. I won a string bag during music trivia. What you won't find is electrical outlets, and the few we found around the ship were European outlets, which makes sense since this is an Italian cruise line. Eventually we settled at the buffet since it was the one of the few spots where our mobile hotspot was working. I'll talk about the food and the buffet later in the video. With the battery of my laptop close to dying, we made ourselves back to the cabin, which does contain 2 US and 2 European electrical outlets. When booking your cabin, you can choose from 3 different experience levels. Each of them has their own set of benefits. Eventually, you'll get an email with the option to bid for upgrades. We bid and got upgraded to a deluxe balcony for a total of $220, which honestly felt like a waste on such a short cruise. One thing many people agree on is that MSC has some beautiful ships, and for a ship that was built in 2010, the Magnifica has some beautiful cabins. The ship was last renovated in 2021, and while the cabin looked amazing, the bathroom was showing its age, as well as an unwelcome smell. Just checked in, and I'm pretty sure that is a smelly urine spot. Little puddle of urine. The smell of urine would intensify throughout the sailing, as I don't think the bathroom floor was ever cleaned. The cabin does have plenty of storage, and here's a cool thing you can do with these hangers. You can use these to close the curtains so you have no light going through in the morning. So we're somewhat settled into our cabin after a pretty hectic day to get here. There's not much information. There's actually no information inside the cabin about dinner time or anything. We're supposed to wait for our key card, and that has the time on there. We have the early seating. Don't have a card yet, so we're just kind of killing time. There's lots of mirrors in this cruise ship. There's so many mirrors. What do you do on that table? It's like a mirror. I guess if you want to look at yourself, right here, stare at yourself. L'Olympiade is a sports bar and one of the few spots on the ship where you can get some food. The food served here is included, but we never saw anyone eating here the few times we passed by. Typically on a longer cruise, I like to start my day with a good workout. The gym on the ship is a decent size, and the equipment looked pretty new. I do like to spend the rest of the day relaxing somewhere on board, like the ship's spa. The thermal suite area features a sauna and steam room, as well as 3 hot tubs, all which have great views of the ocean. For a 3-day sailing, they wanted to charge $119 for all access to the area, which I passed on. With MSC status of gold and above, you get a complimentary 1-hour thermal area session once per cruise. So this is the men's changing room in the lockers for the spa, and they give you a key that you can use for one of these lockers before going into the thermal suite. Weekend cruises are known to be party cruises where people come to blow some steam and take full advantage of their drink packages. This large open space on the top deck was very odd at first, especially since the ship only has one pool, which was packed the whole cruise. The reason for the space would become much more clearer later on in the sailing. But while sail away is fun from the top deck, I much prefer to catch it from our balcony when sailing out of Miami, as the views of Miami are pretty amazing on that side. On this sail away, we geeked out when we spotted the famous Miami floating mansion.
The first livable luxury sustainable yacht in the world, which is independent of electricity and water.
Opinions about MSC are highly divided. The most debated aspect is the food. As the world's 3rd largest cruise line, the Italian company is accustomed to catering to European taste, which can differ significantly from American preferences. However, as MSC expands its presence in the United States, it has increased its focus on appealing to American guests. Recently, they appointed a new executive vice president and executive chef, Joseph Jungworth, who brings 14 years of experience from Royal Caribbean to focus on the U.S. markets. As part of their plans to improve food quality, they just announced a partnership with their sister company MSC, the world leader in container shipping, to use smart containers to guarantee that the freshest produce is loaded into the line's cruise ships. So, while some cruise lines are cutting costs at the expense of food quality, MSC is investing more to improve its food offerings. The main dining room has 2 timed seating options. We chose the early dining, so if we didn't like the food, we could go to the buffet. One important thing to note, you will be sitting with other passengers for dinner. One of the couples that was seated with us was on their first ever cruise and didn't know they would be sitting with other people. They were visibly upset and asked to be seated alone. They were denied. We never saw them after the first night. If you want to sit alone, you have to wait until everyone is seated, and if they have any tables left, then you can have it for that night only. The QR code menus felt a bit tacky for main room dining, but it does save on paper. As an Italian cruise line, pasta is one of the things they do well, and over the 3 nights, I would stick with main dishes that contain pasta, with the chicken parmesan being my favorite. For the most part, everything I ate over the 3 nights was very flavorful. The only disappointments were the Caesar salad, which lacked dressing, and the calamari, which was tough. Desserts were great, but this chocolate cake being my favorite, it was moist and I had it on several nights.
It's like hot right here, like it's an oven right here.
Should we just move? When it came to the buffet, I was very selective with what I ate, as some things just didn't look good. I will say that everything on this plate was absolutely delicious. Italians no pizza, and I will cast my vote for best pizza at sea for MSC. With my favorite being this 5-cheese pizza right here. While many of the dishes didn't look appetizing to me, I will say the healthy side of the buffet was plentiful. I haven't seen as many vegetables as there were in this buffet. I was able to make myself this beautiful salad, and for a healthy dessert there were enough fruits available. But the sweets here looked like the big winner. You can get a big slice of cake, which was very moist, unlike cakes on most other cruise lines. I'm not sure if it was luck, but getting a table at the buffet for breakfast and lunch was never an issue. And the bar had plenty of staff on hand in the morning to make espressos and other coffee drinks, which were really good on board.
I have to say that the food quality and taste has been slightly better here on MSC than my last Royal Caribbean cruise.
Launched in 2009, the Magnifica is one of the older ships in the MSC fleet, and despite its age, the ship has a unique charm and its common areas are well maintained. The ship features a variety of small, intimate lounges and venues, though many were often empty. I don't think I ever saw anyone in this particular lounge. The layout reminds me of Virgin Voyages ships, with restrooms that are just as hard to find too.
That's the bathroom.
MSC currently has 8 of its ships scheduled to sail from 4 of its U.S. ports, including Miami, Port Canaveral, New York City, and Galveston, which will be MSC's newest port in 2025, with the cruise line moving to Texas one of its newest ships, MSC Seascape, built in 2022.
An existing cargo warehouse will be transformed into the new terminal. The $142 million project is expected to be done by the time MSC vessel Seascape sets sail in late 2025. Other cruise lines will be able to use the new terminal.
2025 is going to be a big year for MSC with the debut of the MSC World America, the sister to the stunning World Europa ship.
Well, they have the tables out. You know when they have the tables out, you're going to get a deal.
There are a few shops on board, but we only visited this one. Here you can grab a lanyard for your room key. They also offer popular hats for white theme night. You'll definitely need one. For the kids, the store had a great variety of toys, including an impressive selection of Legos and a very questionable Barbie doll.
You can buy Disney dolls on an MSC cruise. Come sail on Disney cruises.
We also met a couple who used all their onboard credit to buy several MSC plush mascots. But all I can think about is that poor soul inside a hot costume they put outside in the August heat. By the way, doesn't he look like Sonic the Hedgehog? Earlier in the video, I questioned the use of half of the ship's top deck for this open deck, when it seems they could have expanded the small pool area. Well, at night, the ship comes alive, and that open space becomes the focal point of White Night, which is the biggest party on MSC, and everyone is encouraged to dress in white. That open space was packed with the largest group of passengers I've seen on any cruise ship party. The fact that a majority of the passengers on board were fellow Latinos might have had something to do with that as well. There was another party on the first night that we missed, but if dance parties are not your thing, the evening entertainment included a comedian that played several shows, live music was plentiful throughout the ship, and there were 2 shows we caught in a beautiful theater that reminded me of a New Orleans Mardi Gras with its color theme. The first show had no central theme, it was just some random selection of songs, including an ode to the Back to the Future movie. And the lead singer on this show was amazing. The second show is a circus-themed variety show with music and various stage acts. After watching a girl twirl around by her hair, the show ends with a lovely but totally out of left field rendition of We Are the World. Why are you laughing? I enjoyed both shows. Given the limited budget, the quality was comparable to what you might find at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun. An interesting point the cruise director mentioned was that 75% of all the sold-out ship's passengers were first-time MSC cruisers. This is a pretty high number. This particular sailing was offered as a flash sale for $199 per person, and the 7-day cruise on newer ships like Seaside are available for as low as $856 for an inside cabin. With such competitive prices, it's no surprise the ship is filled with many first-time MSC travelers. Although with the low price point, I expected the cruise line to attract a less desirable crowd, I actually found a lot of large families, particularly Latin ones, which is pretty common in Florida, who were there for a great weekend. It wasn't the party ship that I had imagined. In regards to the customer service we had on board, this might be one of the subtle differences you might notice between cruise lines out of the United States and the European cruise line like MSC. European customer service is often more formal and understated than what Americans are used to. When I searched in Google for European customer service versus American customer service, Google's AI gave me this. Americans complain more often when dissatisfied with customer service and are more likely to spread word to others about poor experiences. British customers are more willing to give brands a chance to correct poor service and are less likely to openly publicize bad service experiences. This doesn't really answer the question, but does it explain the number of bad reviews MSC has gotten in the United States, or do they just have a subpar product? I don't know. The service we encountered was not overly enthusiastic or friendly in most cases. It was very formal. Some bartenders really looked annoyed at times. Maybe due to the number of people abusing the drink packages. I can't tell you how many times I saw one person order multiple drinks and give them to multiple members of their family. On the plus side, we didn't feel like we were constantly bombarded with upsell opportunities like on most cruise lines, and small touches like snacks delivered to your table when you sat down in most lounges were a very nice touch. After a long day of travel yesterday, we called it an out night early. Today we are at Key West. Do you know where we're going? Nope. On these weekend cruises, Key West is one of the 2 stops you'll make. And even though we had never been to Key West, the August heat and humidity were too brutal for us, so we decided to turn around and head back to the ship for a relaxing day by the pool on a quiet ship. Our second stop has to be the highlight of any MSC itinerary in the Caribbean, and reason enough for me to want to come back. We met multiple people that sell MSC just to come here. It's that good.
Where are we?
Ocean Cay.
That's it?
But you can see Ocean Cay.
While I love Perfect Day Coco Cay for its fun factor, the MSC Marina Reserve is the closest thing to a luxury private island I've seen. It's a perfect setting for someone looking to relax at the beach. It has some of the most stunning waters, and MSC has done a great job of keeping the feel of the island as natural as possible. I'll do a full video on this beautiful place in the near future. These people got their own little private spot under the palm trees. This is really nice. Including spots on the island where you can have the beach all to yourself. Is it fun?
Yeah, it's just hot.
Very hot. Here's my final thoughts. Not being able to get an answer from MSC on whether my status match was approved or not was not a good first impression. My status match was indeed approved based on the gold status on my card when we boarded. I would have booked a cruise with them long ago had they simply just provided that information to me. The only issue we had on board was not being able to connect a device to the Wi-Fi, which they were able to fix real quickly. For me, the food was good enough, but the lack of food options as well as the ship size would deter me from wanting to sail on this specific ship for more than a few days. I do want to try one of their newest ships, as I've been told those are much better experiences, and for that reason, I'm glad that our first cruise on MSC was on an older ship, as we have something better to look forward to. Finding urine from the previous sailing in our cabin bathroom and not having it cleaned the few days we were on board is disgusting and not acceptable. I do hope that this is just an isolated case and not a representation of what cleanliness on MSC is like. I do think MSC is listening to their passengers and making efforts to get better. While I don't see this being my top cruise line of choice, the prices at MSC would definitely help me get my cruise fix when I need one, since prices are increasing all over the industry. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've got more cruise content coming up, so if you like content like this, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when I drop my next video. And as always, thanks for watching.